Hi friends, it is a cool morning. You can definitely tell that it is autumn now. And today I'm going to harvest some of my ripe tomatoes while I chat to you about everything you can sow in April. It is amazing how many tomatoes end up ripe just after leaving them for 2 days. I think I'm going to end up filling this bowl completely by the time I've finished this video. Of course, now that it is April, there are fewer things that we can sow from seed because it's getting cold now. And as you can tell by today, it is a cloudy day. There's not much sunlight. However, we are getting some warmer days. We're getting some beautiful mid 20 degree days, but also today is 15 degrees and it's quite cool. So there are fewer things that we can sow, but there are still vegetables that you can sow now and have a harvest from in winter to early spring. A lot of these vegetables I would have already mentioned in March's video of what to sow, but it's handy to talk again each month and rethink what you might decide to plant in your garden. Each season, it's good to come back and have a think about what you're going to sow in your seedling trays and what you can actually sow directly into your garden at this time of year. Got a basil harvest to do here as well. I found me some whoppers. So the first thing I like to mention are the brassicas. Now, there is still time for you to sow seeds into trays, or you could try sowing them directly into the ground and then thinning them out later on. A lot of brassicas can be grown all year round, but if you haven't gotten Brussels sprouts into the ground yet, you could still put in some plants that you get from the nursery or from another grower. You could still put them in now. I've just put some in a week ago. So I put them in at the end of March, but I also had some seeds growing in February and I'm about to plant those seedlings into the ground. So if you haven't started your Brussels sprouts, I recommend going and getting some plants instead. They are so scrummy. I love Brussels sprouts. So I try to get them in each autumn. I try to sow them as well. Sometimes I have successes, sometimes I don't. This year, because of a lot going on, I have purchased some plants from the nursery. So I have got some plants going as well as my own seedlings that I have raised from seed. So the other brassicas that you can plant now are broccoli and cauliflower and cabbages and kale as well. So broccoli and cabbage are grown most of the year round. You can pretty much sow them each month. But cauliflower has a shorter time frame, so you can't really sow cauliflower seeds past May. So I recommend getting them started now. They like a little bit of that heat to get started and get going because they are a larger plant and they can be a larger head as well. It is also time to start getting some more broad beans in the ground if you haven't already. I have just planted my first broad bean seeds into the ground a couple of weeks ago, and I will continue to plant them for the next month or two. Now for our root vegetables. There is a short window now for carrots. So if you haven't gotten your carrot seeds into the ground yet, now is the month to do it. So with carrots, you want to sow them directly into the ground. So just make some furrows and plant the seed. And I like to put a mixture of seed raising soil just on top of the seeds that I'm sowing. Remember that carrot seeds like to see some of the light, so don't bury them too far into the ground. You want a light sprinkling of soil over the top. And then I will also put a little bit of sugarcane mulch on top because it's not too thick. It's not a thick mulch and you can spread it out quite thinly and then the light can still get through. I can hear some black cockatoos in the background. I absolutely love black cockatoos. They are one of my favorite birds to listen to. They're just so beautiful and such polar opposite birds in personality to their cousins, the sulphur-crested cockatoos, who are just the naughty cousin, really, aren't they? So, sorry for the interlude. Carrots. Carrots. It is now the time to get your carrot seeds in the ground. And because of the nature of our autumn at the moment, it has been quite wet. We usually have drier autumns, but we have had a bit of rain. So that is good for getting the carrot seed in the ground because it needs some moisture and the seeds don't like to dry out or else they will fail to germinate or they'll fail mid-germination as well, which is even worse. So find a little space in your garden to plant some carrots and you will enjoy some lovely carrots come springtime. Another root vegetable that we need to be quick to getting the seed in the ground now are parsnips. So with the same with carrots, you want to make a furrow and pop your parsnip seed in. I had successes recently with harvesting some of my parsnip that grew over summer, and it was a delight. I have been enjoying roasted parsnip for the past couple of weeks and it's been delightful. Another root vegetable that I have been sowing and that I will continue to do some succession sowing of, that's another thing. Try to do succession sowing of these vegetables, particularly carrots and parsnips and now onions. Onions and spring onions you can get into the ground as well directly, or you can do them in punnets too. You can't do your carrots and your parsnips in punnets. They don't like their roots to be disturbed. So we're planting them both directly into the ground. You can also sow some swede and turnips if you like those. They are wonderful to harvest throughout winter and put in soups. And you can also put your radish seeds in. And I recommend succession sowing radishes because you don't want to end up with a huge amount of radishes at one time. And speaking of radishes, they pair beautifully with lettuce greens. So, of course, another thing that you can plant most year round are lettuce seeds. So you can plant your lettuce seeds directly into the ground if you want to try it that way. I do get a lot of lettuces coming up from seed that I've allowed to drop from plants I've let go to seed in my garden. And I have been transplanting them to other areas of my garden and putting them in rows because there's basically a million seedlings in one little spot. And you can either thin them out or you can dig them up and plant them out into rows or circles or squares, whatever you like, into other parts of your garden. And this is a great way to know when lettuces are ready to plant into your garden as well. They like it when it gets a bit cooler because that sun is so harsh on their delicate leaves. So I've got lettuces coming up all over my garden. So I know, it's time for me to start sowing some more lettuce seeds into punnets and then I can put them into the ground or I can just sow them very lightly directly into the ground as I would carrot seed. The lettuce seeds don't like to be covered with too much soil, just like carrot seeds. So planting them out and putting a little bit of your seed raising mix on top of the seeds will just do perfectly. Okay, I'm on the other side of the Rio to get the tomatoes that are ripe on this side. Along with your lettuces and other greens, you can also start sowing some more spinach plants as well. I like to sow my spinach directly into the ground at this time of year. They do really well, but I've also got some seedlings that I've just planted into the ground that I sowed back in February. I forgot to mention peas. So now is a great time to continue getting your peas in the ground. I have not planted any myself yet, just because I would normally plant peas up the Rio and all my Rios are taken at the moment. What I could do is plant them underneath the plants that are in the ground, allow them to start germinating and growing. And then when these vines of tomatoes and pumpkins and cucumbers and all that are finished, I can just chop those plants at the base and pull them off the Rio. So you can get your sweet peas and your snap peas and your snow peas into the ground now. I like to plant them directly into the soil, but you've got to be careful if you've got insects that might come and nibble on your little pea seeds that are just starting to germinate. Also, I have heard of rodents being a big pain with peas as well. So you might choose to raise them in punnets. So I should probably do that too. I should probably sow some in punnets. And then when I'm ready to pull these vines off the Rio here, I can pop my seedlings into the ground. And lastly, I wanted to talk about herbs. You can continue to raise thyme plants. I've got one sitting right in front of me. Once you have thyme, you won't need to plant it again, hopefully. It just keeps spreading and giving lots of love. You can also start sowing your parsley and your coriander. I have seen so many seedlings of parsley and coriander coming up in my garden. Again, this is a hint to me that it is time to start planting it. So you can sow them direct into your garden, and you can also start them in punnets if that's what you wish. So that's all for the vegetables and herbs. I wanted to chat briefly about flowers. The wind today is coming from the south and it is cold. So there are so many flowers that you can sow at this time of the year. Billy buttons and poppies and tansy, calendula, delphinium, false Queen Anne's lace, hollyhocks and lupins, pyrethrum and sweet peas, to just name a few. I highly recommend growing herbs and flowers in your vegetable garden. The bees and beneficial insects love having these flowers and herbs that go to seed in your garden, and this improves your vegetable plants' growth and health. I hope you've found this video very useful for what you can plant in cool regions of Australia during April. I have pretty much filled this bowl with tomatoes. I've still got a good 7 meters of tomatoes to harvest from. So I'll get cracking with it, and I will see you again very soon for another video. Let me know down below what you are going to plant and sow during this month of April, and also the area that you're growing. It does help everyone who reads the comments to know where you're actually situated. So if you're in an area that's near to them, it will help them know what to plant as well. Thank you, my friends. See you next time. You can't do your parsnips and your carrots in punnips. Punnips. Is this the tiniest tomato you've ever seen?